Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, may be getting indicted very, very soon in Georgia. So this would be his third indictment if a second federal one doesn't beat this one to it. And it seems pretty for sure now that we'll see 4 indictments at least. The Georgia and then a second federal one out of the Jack Smith investigation into Trump's attempt to overturn the election. And in Georgia, the investigation into Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election results in that state specifically is heating up, and a grand jury is being brought together to make decisions on indictments. And that is really big based on the previous reporting and the the 4-person who came out and indicated some information in an interesting manner. It seems like this grand jury is going to make a decision to indict Donald Trump, and so that could be very soon. Take a look at this being reported.
Today in the Fulton County courthouse, we're expecting a major step in the Georgia case against former President Donald Trump.
Yeah, so Atlanta News First reporter Rebecca Schramm has been on top of this, and she says that today is the day a grand jury will be seated to hear this case.
Remember, there was a special grand jury that met for 8 months and made recommendations to the district attorney. Today, a regular grand jury will be seated, which will have the power to indict. We expect that one of the 2 Fulton County grand juries being seated today will take up the case of Georgia's 2020 election and whether former President Trump or any of his Republican allies broke Georgia laws as they tried to overturn the results of the election here. No doubt the grand jury will hear the recording of that well-publicized phone call Trump made to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, in which Trump said he needed to find enough votes to beat Democrat
11,780 votes.
Joe Biden and win the state. District Attorney Fani Willis also is expected to present evidence related to the quote-unquote alternate slate of Republican electors and whether they broke the law as they certified Trump as the winner in the event that one of the lawsuits filed on Trump's behalf at that time proved to be successful. There's also a question of whether Willis will pursue racketeering charges in this case.
And we talked about that set of potential charges many times in the past. So this is really, really big stuff. Here's this also being reported on by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The selection of 2 Fulton County grand juries will be made Tuesday, with one of the panels expected to decide whether to hand up an indictment for alleged criminal interference in the 2020 presidential election. One set of jurors is likely to be asked to bring formal charges against former President Donald Trump and other well-known political and legal figures. In a letter to county officials almost 2 months ago, District Attorney Fani Willis indicated the indictment could be obtained at some point between July 31st and August 18th. Just around the corner. And one of the things that indicates this is definitely coming, that's my speculation, is the reporting we got that Fani Willis had been coordinating with law enforcement agencies, writing a letter, if I'm not mistaken, to them in preparation for that time window, saying, be ready, enhanced security. And as I've said in the past, why would you need enhanced security when it comes to indictments unless it's someone super high profile like Donald Trump? And that's what the expectation very much is here. And then the New York Times reports on, just as we're kind of talking about Trump's legal troubles, another element of the federal case as it moves towards trial. Lawyers for former President Donald J. Trump asked a federal judge on Monday night to indefinitely postpone his trial on charges of illegally retaining classified documents after he left office, saying that the proceedings should not begin until all substantive motions in the case had been presented and decided. And so they're trying to delay this. As a tactic Trump has used a lot throughout his life when he's faced with legal troubles. Delay. A lot of people try to do that in situations like this one, and at least rhetorically and publicly, you can imagine why Trump would want this. If he can push it back to the time frame I was seeing that they're kind of aiming for is right before the election or shortly after, then he can, at least in the eyes of the American people, if not actually in court, make the case even more that, my goodness, see, they're coming after someone. It's the election right around the corner, and I'm going into the general, and boom, the trial's happening. It's so unfair. It's so horrible. And of course, they never address the evidence, why he shouldn't be held accountable for his violations of the law that seem pretty clear and present. But that would be a narrative that he would be able to push, maybe even more effectively if it's happening right before the election or right after, if he were to win, God forbid. But there it is. Not looking too good for Donald J. Trump. And I'm all right with that.